Hi everyone. So today we're going to discuss about the very important topic, training. Training is one of the important lessons in human resource management. This is really important because when you recruit a person, you should know how to train that person. The training is that much important because without proper training, the persons you can't see the expected level of the productivity from that candidate employee. Therefore, here we're going to understand the means basically the importance of training for business organization, and then its workers are going to understand the different types of training and their main purpose of the training, and also types of training. There are three types of training we are talking about: induction training, on the job training, and the off the job training. So this section is really important for every exam because not only the let's say IGCSE, AS level also is important. This under human resource management. Again, you are going to learn the business management section, this topic. And also in university level also, and so many professional exams. So this thing is there, and also really important is a practical aspect also because one day when you are starting your career somewhere in corporate world, then you have to go undergo on one of this training thing, either induction training, on the job training, and off job training. So we'll see what is actually the meaning of the training. You can see it's a kind of process which increase the knowledge, skills, and attitudes of the worker. And workers at the end of the training process, the worker become like a fit for the purpose. Otherwise, with the qualification, sometimes you don't have proper attitudes. Like you have to give them kind of like a proper training regarding the organization, how it works, how this equipment being actual people are using. So that as a result of that, you can improve the efficiency of the worker, productivity of the worker. You can It's a good communication method on the other hand. This is important because of that. So you can talk about the and understand the role of training in compliance with the health and safety law. In another legislation also we are talking that like we talk about recently about the employee legislations like related to workers like discrimination laws and everything. But here we are talking about mainly the health and safety legislation. Under that, training is mandatory. And also at the end we are going to understand the limitations of the training also. You can see this case study, the Alberta Farming Corporation, because it's AFC. So let's go to this case study. 2015, 10 young people started work in Alberta Farming Corporation in Canada, and it's a large cereal producer with 180 employees spread over different farm locations in the region. The new recruit has just graduated from agricultural college and were keen to get started on their first real job. However, before they were allowed to begin, they had to attend an intensive training course at the farm own training center. So there's a lot of organizations right now, they have own training centers. So all the freshers, they actually giving them some initial training, and then on they will go to the real platform. So this training focusing on understanding the company's working practices in the farmland. There are certain working practices, learning how to operate the different machines on the farm, and health and safety basic thing. So health and safety is very seriously in the employees. You can see these are fatality cases in between 2005 to 2014. Fatalities and injuries happen because of the farm activities. You can see sometimes like injuries can be happen. Sometimes it can be physical injuries. Sometimes like from the machines they are using. It can be sometimes injuries. For example, like a sometimes we are falling and sometimes hitting or cutting, those kind of things. So injuries can be happen. You can see the injury level 2005 to 2014. You can see they are maintaining around like about 25, just a number. You can see the agricultural Canada, that number of fatalities in agriculture in 2015 to 14, it's all about 70.9% involved in machinery, and those of fatality injured 91.6% were male. So because of the most of the time machines operated by the males in the farming industry, that's why. So you can see training is that much of importance. So let's go to talk about the uh, imports of training. You can see unlikely that the employee would be go through their working without some kind of a form training, like in organization. Like if you for the new worker, you should give some kind of a training. So training is important and involves increasing the knowledge and skills of workers. As I said at the beginning, it is important to find out the knowledge and skills of the workers, Then only you will be like fit for the organization. The workers will be very important to the organization. Therefore, you have to give them some proper training in order to acquire the skills. So, when in question, if you ask, analyze or explain what is the importance of training, you can see training is important to increase the knowledge and skills of a worker, right? So, because of that, you can see after acquiring the new skills, they can perform better. They can perform better, and then increased productivity will be better leaders. So we talk about, let's say, a cricketer. So let's say there's a one person who actually have some kind of like a basic skills regarding fielding, bowling, batting, right? But that person that doesn't have any technique. He actually play because of his talent, right? Born talent. Some people are there. They actually they know they can very well. They can spin. They have very good fast bowlers. So sometimes they are very good batsmen. They can hit hard, but after proper training, after proper coaching, the coach will be able to identify the weakness of that player, and then will be able to improve that player. Gem, rough gem, you can cut and polish. Then only the real value of the gem comes after that. Ne? Otherwise, with the rough stones, no one actually, the real value actually not there. It's precious, but there is no good value in the market. So first of all, the gems also what you have to do, you have to do a proper cut and polish. Then only the proper value coming like that. So training is that much of important. Yeah, when this session also you can see this kind of a training. This is I'm also right now doing a training for you. I'm also like I'm doing this kind of a, like cut and polish for you. You're all gems for this world. So that's why. So I'm doing my job. So as a trainer, and I'm going to introduce you, and I'm giving the knowledge for you, and it improve the knowledge of you, and the knowledge and attitudes and the skills of the workers. So one day, this knowledge can you can utilize this knowledge one day for your own business or for the organization you are working. So as a result of that, you can see the after this training, the people like a new environment, they can easily cope up with the new environment. And training sometimes can be expensive, and some cases cost. Because of this, training cost will discourage the workers sometimes to go with. Sometimes employees don't want to spend that much of money to spending for the training, investment in training, and this may result in lower productivity and loss of competitiveness. So a lack of training might also endanger workers. Okay. Now we are moving into a very important session. You can see the induction training. Before we go to induction training, I would like to share this. Yeah. So mainly a document with you. You can see this. This training. You can see this document. You can see here induction training. It started like that. So find this document, and you can find out all the definitions and then all the areas that covered by the induction training. So induction training, first of all, and the training, there are three types of training. Now you know what is training. Training, there are three types. First is induction. Induction means training given to the new workers so that they understand their role, responsibility, and they can do their job better. So induction training is a kind of a, like a the first day training kind of a day for the new worker to introduce the organization and get familiarized with the job. That's the training they have given. So after that, you can see this document. You can see the parts of induction training. What are the areas they cover? First day, sometimes they will give you a complete tour of the workplace, and then tell you what are the company history and names, and sometimes they may introduction to the job and direct work colleagues. They might teach you the company policies such as dress code, disciplinary procedures, holidays, health and safety training, and company history, aims and objective, these things. So you can see before go to on the job and off job training. So these are the induction training course. Induction training, sometimes a lot of organizations they have given this thing. So if we go to back to textbook, you can see the induction training. It cover the whole the induction. So initially, the worker. Sometimes in examination they ask you what is the purpose of induction training, what is the importance of induction training, what are the areas covered by the induction training. Sometimes this time they MCQ question came, thing that actually provided by the induction training, that you have to understand what is the objective, what kind of a thing they have given, some kind of a item under this, and you have to find that from the multiple choice question. So you can see induction training will give you health and safety training. Health and safety. There are fire drills. In case of fire, what you have to do. In case of an earthquake, what you have to do. In case of there's a some kind of a, like, earth tsunami, or what kind of things. Health and safe training is important. A company policies, what is the dress code, different, some, especially you can see the organization, especially military organization, there are certain dress codes are there. Sometimes like morning functions different dress code, evening functions another dress code, and for weddings another dress code, for the official matters another dress code. If you are going to the outdoor, for example, let's say a jungle or something, another dress code, like say camouflage, something like that. So there are different company dress codes are there. You have to give some introduction course over that thing, because otherwise the new people, the new organization, the new workers, they don't know anything about that. And about the holidays and disciplinary procedures, how to apply for holidays and all that thing. And also the company history, aims and objective, you have to give that also into the induction training. And also introduction to senior staff, you have to introduce the employees to senior staff, and introduction to job and direct work colleagues. These are the main things coming on induction training. Right. You can see the Google. The Google is a now very, like one of the, like a world's, largest multinational company. The new software engineers at Google called the Nooglers. All Nooglers attend to the induction program designed to introduce a new recruit to the Google way. On the first day, Nooglers are given a temporary badge, a security card, a laptop, and other equipment that special Noogle at heat. So hat, and also they are given like a, that's one. So they have their photos taken and assigned to a Noogle group, right? So they have assigned that to the Noogle group also, like the induction training. So normally all that, like we call management trainees, they call them in the Google organization, they call Nooglers. So management training, because this is a, you can see there are so many. It's like one of the best place to work in the world. Google is a, like, always they nominated for that title, one of the best place for working, because of very good working environment, working conditions are there. Food and drinks provided free of charge. So so many things to employ motivation, because most of them are software engineers. All people are all like graduates and the education experts. So in software engineering side, so they have given their full freedom to work. So before they after enrolling, so they are given 2 week induction course, and program start with a series of lectures and presentations about the things like Google culture, missions and product. So most of the information given is highly confidential, and importance of a secrecy and sensitive treatment of information emphasized. The importance of change is a priority at Google. So importance of change is a priority of Google. So all employees are expected to be excited by a change, since much of their work is involved in the future technology and the new products. Senior members of the organization deliver lectures and presentations. On the first day, Nucleus also involves a great get to know you exercise and get to meet their working team. So that is like a familiarize with other people, because it's not an individual thing; it's a teamwork sometimes. So you should know, you should identify who's your team members, right? You should get to know everyone. It's not like a, so it's promote the teamwork actually. So you are not alone, and you are like a part of a team like that. And also they also shown their workstation and become familiar with their new working environment. On the second day, Nucleus get involved in technical exercises designed to teach uh, recruits about the developing at Google. So Google uses training tutorials called Code Labs, and these teach recruits about the internal technologies that help employees their jobs. Examples include the Big Table, Megastore, protocol buffers, and unit testing. These tutorials last for about a week, and these there will be also a large group of exercises which continue into the third day. So you can see the part of induction training. So I would like to show you some kind of like a documentary video like that. If you go to the Google thing, you can see, you can find out the Google Internship program is really important. So I would like to share that what is a Google Noogle, the Google Internship. You can see this is a video. You can see. like share this video for your documentary. Will enhance your knowledge, right?
See people walking their dogs. It feels kind of like a playground, a big playground.
The atmosphere around Google is definitely very eccentric, but also very academic.
At Google, we actually do have the ability to make more of an impact on people and more of a change in 1 year than many people do in their lifetimes.
It's an environment in which very few limitations are placed on where your mind can be.
You're all starting your teams this week, and some advice is to not be afraid to fail, but we want to flip that around a little bit and say don't be afraid to succeed. My name is Matthew Malone. I'm a graduate intern here at Google in consumer operations this summer. I have a background as an infantry officer in the Army. I thought leading people directly on the ground as a combat leader would provide the greatest leadership challenge. And then I switched over to working in intelligence. That's where I really started to fall in love with technology.
My name is Paola Correa. I go to the University of Miami and I study advertising and marketing. When I was little, I used to collect ads. I used to get a kick out of going to different places and seeing how the same message would impact differently and would look differently.
My name is Kim Day. I'm from Melbourne, Florida. I'm studying physics and computer science at the Florida Institute of Technology. I grew up on the Space Coast in Florida, and I always grew up watching the shuttles take off from the Kennedy Space Center. And I knew that I really wanted to work with technology and be able to be on the cutting edge.
My name is Florian Koenigsberger, and I'm from New York City. Google as a company is attractive to me because they are a tech company that spans so much more than that. There isn't a place that Google is not.
I'm Grant Oakley. I'm from Spokane, Washington. Just the process of coding is actually surprisingly fun. You kind of get like this epic win at the end of the day. You gotta, throw up the arms in celebration. It's exciting to work at Google because, unlike a lot of software companies, I use Google products every day. That's pretty exciting.
So you can see, guys,
I've always thought of work as just
this is the first week, right? First week of the Google intern, first week, induction training, right? So this whole video is about the induction training of the new interns,
my inbox is like already been exploding.
right?
How many? Yeah, 45 emails for your first day should be good.
I'm working in the online help center, and my project is part an effort that will completely change the way Google is reaching out to consumers and helping them with Google products.
Our help centers are not just the US, but we have them in 40 plus languages. So we have to think about how we're going to manage that complexity.
From your first day as a Googler intern, you're treated as a regular employee.
Don't presume that just because you're an intern as such that you're not a member of the team.
One usually expects as a new person.
You can see like these cases, like they're working as a under the supervision in the first week, teaching everything, right?
Good, I'm Chris. I worked with a couple interns last year, and every intern that I've seen come on has just exuded Googliness.
I'll get the hang of it
You'll get the
eventually.
hang of it.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to ask. It's definitely
Okay.
a big thing. Is her work going to be challenging? Yeah, because the most important work is challenging.
This summer, I'm working on an email notification for Google accounts, and it's going to be sent out to thousands of users, and it's going to make their accounts more secure.
My code helps developers test their code very efficiently, and that way they can write good, stable code for the product.
You will be working on something that not only our team, the entire Google will see.
Basically, internship is like a good experience towards.
You see different cultures you can meet.
The one thing that all the interns definitely have in common is passion and motivation to get these things done, because you don't necessarily have to know everything, but you have to be willing to learn.
Is this your first time at Google?
And these are physical exercises you can see.
Unstoppable, restless, a bunch of activities. There's always something new.
Okay, then get to know each other,
Activity with the next person that we meet
right?
is more exciting than the last.
Can I see different
They do a
photos?
really good job of making you understand the way this place thinks. I think specifically of an exercise we did that gave a completely new perspective on how to brainstorm.
What is brainstorming to you? Tell me what you guys said.
It's focused on learning to put aside your judgments right away, avoid criticizing new ideas that may seem strange to you.
Impossible is not a word that's thrown around very often. I think it helps you imagine. I certainly did not associate imagination with productivity before coming here, but I think this place makes that real.
Can you
For
see the
the
hat?
record, I know that
This is
there
the
will be
hat
a
they're
lot
talking
of
about,
work
the Google
involved.
hat.
Maybe some work that I don't know how to do, but a little bit of fear is good.
See Google Noogle, right?
I do feel a little different after being here for my first week. I guess I've always identified myself very much with the military. I was in the military for 5 years. but I'm starting to see myself as a Googler. I see myself as someone who fits in here. I don't feel like an outsider. I feel googly.
I would say meeting Sergey was definitely one of the highlights of my week, month, maybe year. He's fine, just like stop and shake my hand. Then he rode off on his elliptical bike. It's pretty great.
Maybe it is a little early to say that after I've only been here a week or so, but I just feel like there's always going to be something new you're going to learn every day, and that's really the best part about being an engineer.
If this is what being an intern feels like, I'd love to be an intern for the rest of my life.
So that's called the induction training thing, guys. So this purpose of this video sharing, you can see like sometimes, right? So this video normally enhance, you can see for the Google Noogle program, you can see this everything which is explained in this case study is there. So I share this video as a result of this, so you can see everything explained here. Documentary video is there. So the video credit goes to the Google for sharing that thing. So asking out of this thing, I think you can have a very good, wonderful experience inside how the Google Noogle program was actually induction program was very satisfied at the end of the that program. The nucleus that you can see they hit all. If it's the induction training, if it's the internship program, I would want to be an intern for the rest of my life, right? That they very appreciate that program. So ask him just three questions. What is the purpose of induction training? The purpose of induction training, you can see the main purpose of induction training is to help new recruits to become more comfortable and familiar with their new surroundings. That's the most important thing. You can see the main purpose of induction training is to help new recruits become more comfortable and familiar with their new surroundings, right? So that's the most important thing, to comfortable with the new surrounding, right? So in the second question, describe what new recruits might learn during the induction program at Google. So this question, I would like to change the command word as analyze question, analyze question, application 3 mark, analyzing 3 marks. So you have to write something like regarding the case study given, analyze question normally. You can say what they learn during the induction program. They learn normally during the induction program. You can see during the induction program, the new recruits are likely to get a tour of the workplace, right? They have given that. And an introduction to senior staff, some health and safety training, and learn about the company history, aims, and objectives, right? Recruits are also likely to learn about the company policies such as a dress code, right? Disciplinary procedures and holidays. They will also get an introduction to the new job and to meet their work colleagues, new software engineers at Google called the Nooglers, and they attend to the induction program designed to introduce the new recruits at the Google way. That program starts with a series of the lectures and presentations about the things like Google's culture, missions, and product. Right now, you have witnessed that video. You can see that how they express their Google way. That the series of lectures, presentations. You can see brainstorming sessions and some exercises in 1 week, second week, third week, like that. So on the second day, what happened? The Google's nucleus get involved in technical exercises designed to teach recruits, and you found out that thing, how they actually being taught by the different people in different sections. Sometimes it can be marketing department, HR department, help desk thing, and also Google uses training tutorials called the code labs. It's given the case study. You can use that as the example from the case study. Most of the time you can use to increase the application value of your answer. And also Google uses the training tutorials and also help employees to do their jobs. The example including, you can see the big table, Megastore, the protocol buffers, and the unit testings. These are given in the case study, you can see para 2. And these tutorials last for about a week, and this is how recruits start to learn about their new job. Right? I think that's fair enough, that answer. So you can describe me analyzing what are the things they are learning during the induction program. You have to give some kind of a comprehension thing to find out evidence from the case study and tell that thing. Okay, discuss why induction training is so important to business like Google. Again, this question also kind of a 6-mark question. You can say discuss a thing I can convert to analyze. Analyze why induction is important. At least you have to write for this kind of a question 2 benefits of induction thing. But induction programs are, because of the discussion thing, you can see analyze the impacts of training. Then you can say 1 advantage and 1 disadvantage of induction training. You can write like that. So you can say if a business failed to provide adequate induction training, right? Staff may be feel anxious because they don't know what to do, and also this might lead to poor productivity, and also at worst staff may leave because they have not settled. At Google, induction is important because recruiters have to understand the Google way. So most of the information given out is highly confidential, and the importance of secrecy and sensitive treatments of information is emphasized. So the importance of the change is also a priority at Google, and also employees are expected to be excited by the changes, since much of their work is involved in the future technology, right? And new products, like you can see the how they work in those, the different things. Sometimes small changes, right? Email security notifications, like that. Those new like coding things. Most of these lectures and presentations for nucleus are given by the senior staff at the Google. That's another thing. The senior employees, they are given this employment, like lectures and everything to the people, and this suggests that the Google attacks a great deal of imports of induction. So that is a typical example that in our case studies they are given in activity number one. So I believe you can get a good idea. You have a good understanding about what is meant by induction training, right? So induction training is really important. I mean, know what is induction training? It's a training given at the organization for the new workers to familiarize with the organization. Right. So definitions, everything is here. You can see training is a process involves increasing the knowledge and skills of worker to enable them to do their work effectively. And induction training definition: the training given to a new employee, training a new employee when they first start their job. When they first start their job. Right. So what kind of a training? The induction training they are giving a complete tour of the workplace. They're taking you to the everywhere. Right. For example, especially not even need to be a staff. Imagine you are a new student in the new day, the first day in your school. You don't know. Sometimes school prefect might help you to go everywhere, and so see the sometimes you recognize. Remember the day, that first day that you came from the junior section to the senior section. Remember that the prefects actually have kind of induction training for you to actually show your classrooms, to show your the important areas, your canteen facilities, and the washroom facilities, and the classroom facilities, the head of secondary office, everything. I think that day, because it's a new building, a new area, so you might don't know sometimes to find where your classroom is. Sometimes you can see the first day. Remember, I think some of you might have this in your experience, right? It will be like a long time ago. You might have this experience. And sometimes you are joining to school in a new academic year to a new school. Sometimes that also obviously you have to get induction training for someone. Especially it can be a prefect or it can be one of your friend. He might be tell you, okay, where are the places, where are the classrooms and everything. So, and also health and safety training. Sometimes you can see fire drills. Some organizations, they organizing these fire drills and health and safety protocols they have. And company policies such as dress code, disciplinary procedures, holidays. These things normally they are showing in sometimes school websites, school almanac, and the rules and regulations, library rules in library, what we have to do, because the first day you don't know anything, right? What to do, and what's the regulation of that thing, dress code, in which occasions you should wear the tie and the blazers. So you should know these things, the protocols of the school, rules and regulations. It must be there. You can see the almanac, sometimes printed and giving for everyone. In what kind of, sometimes we understood it from my experience. I have sometimes I notice sometimes some students are there. They are sometimes dress code is wrong. Sometimes they are wearing a different shoe, right? For example, prefects can only wear the black color shoes, but other students can wear the white color shoes. Sometimes sometimes accidentally, sometimes they don't know, because new students, this kind of always happening from the new students. The dress code always, sometimes because they don't know the system yet. So sometimes it will take some time to understand. Okay, so boys should wear a tie, or boys should wear a belt, and this color of shoe, these things, right? So, and also introduction to senior staff members is another thing. When you're working, actually you have to get familiarized with the senior staff room, the staff members in the organization. You must be get familiarized with everyone. An introduction to job and direct work colleagues. You have to identify with them, introduce you to the direct work colleagues. That was another important thing, right? So These things are really important for induction training. So the second aspect of our this one, today's lesson was identifying the second type of training, that is the on-the-job training. On-the-job training. So there are, as I told you, there are in the beginning of the lesson, we have three types of training: on induction, on the job, and off the job. Right. Let's move on to the on-the-job training. On-the-job training, you can see the name itself, the definition: on the job training, on the job, right? That means training while you're working. While you're working, I get the in training. You can see training that take place while doing the job. While doing the job. It's very easy to understand. It's a normally they're giving this training for the people who are actually not that much, like a severe jobs. For example, it can be you can give this training for a person to, like a helper in a garment factory. It can be sometimes a small task to do, like not like an organization who are doing like for a doctor you can't be get the training from the on-the-job training. For a pilot you can't actually give the training like on-the-job training. You should train separately until they get their proficiency. But normally on the job training, you can see sometimes you can use for some jobs only, like a low skill job sometimes, which is not that much severe to other people. On the job training, you can give example, let's say a bus conductor. We can tell them, okay, first day onward, okay, you work in this bus, right? And then some supervisor might be one day, might be watching him. On the job training, they can give, okay, issue the ticket like this. This is your right machine, ticketing machine. This is how you operate. So on the job training, so you can give them, and the first day onward, they can take the job and you can do your task and duties. There are certain ways, actually different approaches are there used by these businesses to get the on the job training. The first approach we call watching another worker. Watching another worker. It's a very common method of on-job training. On-the-job trainings by existing member of staff is a common method. You can see at this point, they are watching another worker, how they are working, and then tell them, okay, you don't do anything, just watch me, and you after that you imitate me. That's how to do. It's involves a new recruit watching and copying. We call shadow worker sometimes. Shadowing the actions of an experienced and competent employee. This method can work well if the existing member of staff is as a good committed like a teacher. If not, the quality of training might be poor. So you must make sure that the shadow employee shadowing the trainer must be suitable and very they're doing for the technique. Otherwise, what happen? You're imitating a wrong method. Wrong skill will be taken there. So I have to take the always must be ensure that the training should be ideal and properly happen. And the second method of induction training is mentoring. The mentor is a kind of a you can see a coach can appoint some kind of mentor, instructor, where the trainee is paired with an experienced member of staff for a given period of time. Somebody can see there's a police station, this happens like they always coupled with another police senior officer, and trainees put to work on their own without direct supervision, where employees alternate between different jobs during the course of the employment but can call on the mentor or advice and guidance. Mentoring may be used in the help to train teachers sometimes, yes, mentoring. Teacher training courses, sometimes they are using this mentor system. You can see like sometimes substitute teachers are there. In university there are substitute lecturers are there. So mentoring we are using in that situations. You can work with like a professor or work with a senior lecturer, and then after some certain period of time, when your training program or probationary time over, then you can be appointed as a the permanent position you can take. Other one is job rotation, time to time. You can see it's a kind of a motivation thing also. Job rotation may involve new recruits spending period of time in the several different departments at a business. Job rotation, like banks, you can see one day he's working in the teller, mainly cash deposits and payments. Next day you might be move on to the loan section. Next day you work in the checks clearings part. Next day you work in the credit card section, like that. So the telephone, other one you can see customer call center. Like that, job rotation means you are involved in new recruit spending period of time in several different departments at a business. By working in a large departments or in a different task, employees will learn the different skills required and will gain a broad knowledge on how the business works. This approach will also improve the flexibility of the business organization. So that's the three method of induction training, right? So sorry, on the job training. You can see what on the job training means. You are working. The second method I'm talking, the watching a worker training that take place while doing the job. There are three methods of on-the-job training approaches: watching another worker called shadowing, second one mentoring, third one job rotation. Job rotation. You can see these are the main three parts of the induction and on-the-job training methods. So in this table, they summarize what are the main advantages and disadvantages of the on-the-job training. Guys, if on-the-job training happens, it's very comfortable for the organization because there's a less cost, and also output is being produced by the worker, and it's relevant because the training may learn when actual working conditions. Therefore, he know the actual working pressure, actually how to do the job in the real world, and cheaper than other forms of training because you don't need to hire external people, artificial environment, and instructors to train them, and can be easy to organize. Those are the advantages of this. And there are disadvantages of this method also. Output may be lost because in case imagine like in a hotel or something, sometimes mistakes can be happen from the trainings. Ne? If that happen, what happen? Your output will be lost, and sometimes customers also you are putting at a risk. Other employees also putting at a risk, and also it will be very stressful for the worker because always why you are working hard and also you make mistakes. Sometimes you get scolded by others also. That will be a stress, and staff may get frustrated if they make unpaid by trainers because sometimes those senior workers are not get anything in return for the training others. So they become unpaid trainers. That's another bad thing happen in the organization. So if you are training someone, you should give some allowance for it. But normally, a lot of organizations they are not doing that thing. They are saying, okay, this is a new person, please train. Tell him to tell him, teach him. But in return, they are not giving him anything to him, and could be dangerous to others, like example like a surgeon or a train driver. That's why there's a method called off-job training methods we are doing, right? So I'll share the thing, my handout thing. You can see the on-the-job training. The These are the garage. You can see the worker. He actually spills some oil there, and then this supervisor gets scolded to him, and he is in a stressful mood. These pictures realize you can see what kind of a thing his instance he actually facing. But this case you can see engine assembly thing. He actually work in the artificial environment, so no oil spill. If there oil spill, nothing. It's a clean suit, and you can see overall not wearing, and there is sitting and nicely he can focusing on the presentation. He'll do it properly. But here, what happened? He's doing like on the job. He actually working on a real vehicle, real car. But here it's not a real car; it's an artificial environment, and the like tech school. So they have given those equipment to assemble, and they are assembling those things. So that's a difference between on the job and off job. This person learned something while actually performing the job, and this person learned something without performing the actual job by just actually taking the it's a proper training because the learning thing will be not distracted by actual working. But here, your learning will be distracted by actually working by sometimes because of leakage happen, damages happen to the vehicle. Sometimes you have to penalize. Sometimes you get scolded. These are these disadvantages, right? So in the next session, then we can furthermore talk about the off-job training thing. So today, I think my two sessions we talk about the induction training and the on-the-job training. So really important. Sometimes it can become for a 9 marker. Option 1 on the job, option 2 off-job questions. In that case, we'll talk about these past paper questions and what are other type of training things and everything in my next session. Right. So I hope that you enjoy the lesson. So in order to sum up the lesson, we talk about the training, the importance of training, which increases skills and attitudes, and we talk about the different types of training and the main purpose of their training, like induction training and on-the-job training we talk about. So then in my second session, we'll see about the second session of the training. We'll talk about more about this training thing, especially off-the-job training, and importance to comply with the training in the health and safety law. You have to give them some overalls, caps, and protecting gloves and goggles, everything. Those we talk about more, and also we'll find out what are the limitations of the training thing. So in Edexcel or Cambridge or whatever in IGCSE or IAS, this knowledge is really important. But training means you have to sometime one day you have to get the training one day, or sometimes you have to be a trainer one day. So either one of you right? Either you are trainee or trainer, this video is really helpful for you to understand what is the purpose of training the beginners. It's really important to know, to understand what is the main purpose of training and what is the induction training and what is on-the-job training. Okay, so definitely I will go to my second session also. That will be, the second session will be on the other parts of the training courses like off-job training and limitations and everything of the same. Okay, from that we'll wind up our today's session. Then see you again from next session. Thank you very much for your time. See you. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye,
Bye.
sir. Thank you.